What's going on, guys? Politics Gaming here. Today I'm going to be doing a pretty quick video, which is going to be my first 2020 election analysis. So what we're actually going to be looking at is I'm actually going to have to change this over to a blank map. Um, so what I'm going to be looking at is actually going to be a 2020 analysis, but depending on if Beto O'Rourke runs for president against President Donald Trump. And this is going to be a different video from my previous election analysis. I usually only do Senate and a little bit of governors. I've done like one House analysis. I have a lot of pretty boring videos, so this is probably going to be a little bit different. By the way, there's 21 days until midterm elections, and finally, I actually got news today that I am actually going to be able to cover that election on that night. So guys, that's going to be amazing to see here. Now, we're going to go ahead and do this little thing. We're going to go ahead and put this up as Trump, and I'm just going to go ahead, and since Beto O'Rourke's name is actually not in there, I'm actually going to go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of this as just basic little things. Oh crap. All the states that we know are going to definitely going to go to Trump. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana. He's definitely going to win the South. I'm going to leave a couple of states out. West Virginia, Indiana. Let me see what else I actually need to fill in. Arizona, Utah, definitely. Actually, Arizona could actually be a little bit of a naysay right here. So we're going to go ahead and look at this map right here. We're looking at 177 for Donald Trump. We're going to go ahead and fill in the Democrat now. I think Illinois, all of these are going to go to Democrats. Absolutely no way of allowing, no way that the Democrat would be able to lose these states. We're going to go ahead and fill in Vermont, New York, obviously. Virginia is going to be a battleground state, in my own opinion, since it is kind of in between a tug of war between the Democrat and the Republican base. But definitely Virginia I mean, Virginia is actually starting to shift a little more to the left. So we're going to have to put Virginia into the Democratic column. So the beginning electoral map we're looking at is going to be 191 to 177, Democratic lead, obviously. And a couple of states we're actually going to leave that may look like, oh yeah, well, I mean, Democrats are definitely going to win these states. I'm not going to sit here and say all of these. That's why I have way more battleground states than you would previously have. The Midwest, I'm obviously leaving as a battleground arena, mostly because of the just the amount of win, just the margin of victory that Trump had. And I mean, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, those are not good examples of this. So in any case, I'm just going to go ahead and explain myself. So we're going to go ahead and start putting some states into the Democratic and Republican column. Now, North Carolina would definitely have to go to the Republicans because North Carolina has been shifting Republicans since 2012 whenever they voted against Barack Obama. This was a huge loss for the Obama campaign in that year. And North Carolina stayed Republican in 2016 whenever they voted for Donald Trump. I do believe they voted for him by a couple of points, and there was actually a lot of or not actually there wasn't as much turnout in places such as Charlotte, where Democrats were depending on black vote to win that state. So obviously, a lot of Democrats do really depend on those urban black votes, and so that's why a lot of these races are actually turning against them. And so Iowa is going to go to the Republican column, mostly because they are actually starting to shift a little more conservative, as well as Ohio. Both of these states are considerably the most important states you need to win in an election, and the Republicans have never won a federal election, presidential election, in its history since they were created back in the 1850s, in 1856, I believe. Since then, the Republicans have never ever won an election without Ohio. So, against Beto O'Rourke is actually a up and coming uh, sort of a Democrat, and he leans a little more to the progressive side. So, he's going to get a lot of those votes that are actually saying, "Hey, we're actually going to go ahead and like I'm actually like not your typical Democrat. I'm more of a progressive. I really like to look into stuff such as um, legalized weed, stuff like that." And so he would get a lot of support out of Texas. However, that would not allow him to win Texas. Texas is still considerably Republican. If Beto O'Rourke actually wins Texas, then I will change my opinion on this. But he would get a lot of votes. It would be considerably closer than Hillary Clinton actually was in 2016, but Beto O'Rourke definitely would not be able to win Texas. Um, in his proximity, he is actually a representative in the House of Representatives to El Paso in that 14th district of Texas, I believe. I'm getting that wrong, most likely. So since he actually would be pretty popular in Texas. He would also be very popular in New Mexico, who would definitely want to vote for him. Colorado, a lot of those urban voters would support him, so we're going to go ahead and throw that into the Democratic column as well. Arizona, even though he would get a lot of support from the Hispanic community, I don't believe Arizonan voters would actually want to support him, so I'm going to have to throw Arizona into the Republican column. Democrats in Nevada definitely would love to support Beto O'Rourke, mostly because of his Hispanic heritage, and a lot of those voters in Las Vegas would definitely support him. And the way Nevada works in a presidential election, or actually in any election, statewide or federal, um, whichever way Nevada or Las Vegas works, like whichever way they vote is basically how the state votes. So it's a very very difficult for Nevada to actually swing Republican, especially with people such as Donald Trump, who are not very appealing to Hispanic voters. However, he did get a considerable amount of support from Hispanics in like nationwide. However, that did not allow him to win Nevada in 2016. And down in Florida, I would actually have to say that this would be a mixed bag for me. Florida is heavily populated by a lot of Dominican, Cuban, and Hispanic voters, and that would definitely play a role with Donald Trump running against a Hispanic, not a full-blooded Hispanic. However, he does have that tagline with him, and the name Beto would actually have to stick with him. And I'm actually going to go ahead and throw Hawaii and Alaska with the Republican column. That puts us to 230 to 215. So I'm actually going to come back to Florida. We're going to go up to Maine now, where I'm going to go ahead and give the second district to Donald Trump, who would actually appeal to a lot more voters. And since he's actually keeping his promises, stuff like that, I think he would actually win in another district. However, the first district of Maine would definitely go toward the Democratic candidate. In any case, Maine is obviously gonna like throw all of her electoral votes, um, kind of split them a lot, and especially with how polarized our country has actually been. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave Maine as that. New Hampshire would. There is actually a lot of conservative voters over there, and that's actually why they was so close in 2016. So in this case, I am actually going to give New Hampshire to Donald Trump because, he is keeping his promises. That's actually probably going to be the deal breaker with New Hampshire in 2020. And it's going to be the deal breaker with a lot of these states, these battleground states, where they really wanted to depend on Donald Trump to get their jobs back. And this actually will take me all the way to the Midwest, where I'm going to be looking at these last states, such as Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Michigan um, was a very surprising switch in 2016, but in any case, no matter how Trump actually keeps it, unless he actually appeals to a lot of those voters that he did in 2016, plus a considerable amount in the outskirts of Detroit, if he cannot do that, then Michigan will definitely go back to the Democrats. So that's actually why I'm gonna leave Michigan in the Democratic column. However, whenever we come over to Wisconsin, Wisconsin is actually full of a lot of voters, such as like in Michigan, but they're actually like people in Milwaukee are actually more dependent on a lot of things that they want, which is actually stuff like auto jobs. And that's actually why they call them the Midwest. I mean, I'm explaining this horribly. But in any case, I think Wisconsin actually keep their support for Donald Trump, such as Pennsylvania as well. This puts us very close to the crossing line of 270, but we're at 267 right now against 232. So the last states we're going to go ahead and put in is going to be Minnesota and Florida. Now this is going to decide because I mean I think if I give these to the Democrats, then that would actually give them the victory, but very very slight victory. So Florida, I'm gonna have to decide right now because I cannot allow them to go undecided. I really don't like to leave things undecided because that's just really not how I like it. So Florida, I think that Hispanic margin would actually hurt Donald Trump. He did win it by over 100,000 votes in 2016, but that's because of Hillary Clinton being a candidate that is actually like pretty bad, and the Democrats really lucked out, or actually didn't luck out, but they actually made a very bad choice by being biased in their primaries. So in any case, I believe that Florida will go to the Democratic column, which would be a huge blow for Donald Trump. But in a very, very slight victory, and I know a lot of you guys are probably going to like beat me up for this. I feel like that Minnesota could actually go to Donald Trump. In 2016, the votes in Minnesota were actually very, very close. And this actually looks like a really weird map, and I know this actually looks like a really weird map to y'all. But this is how I feel like a race between Beto O'Rourke and Donald Trump would actually happen. I know I haven't been talking about a lot about how Beto O'Rourke is, and I know this video is probably going to be like pretty criticized and stuff like that. It's my first one. But guys, this is actually going to be the end of my prediction for a Beto O'Rourke versus Donald Trump race. If you guys like this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you guys for watching this. And if you guys like to if you guys would like to see more of these kinds of videos, go ahead and let me know. I'm gonna be like amping up these videos by the time the election rolls around. So if you guys want to see more of this, go ahead and leave some suggestions of who I should challenge below. And I'm also planning a couple of more debates. I may actually debate that other guy I actually debated that one time. So Zach Z actually. So if you guys actually want to see a debate between me and him, go ahead and let me know. But I will actually be planning other debates with other people. So guys, if you guys like this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and guys, I'll see you guys there.